and welcome to this level 1-2 class with ProAlign. I'm Sally and I will be taking you through this mat work class. We're going to be doing exercises in 4 different positions, so you can either pick one area to work on and do it over the week, or if you want to, you can do the whole class with me as I go through it. We're going to start off doing some opening into the front of the hips before we come down and onto our tummy. This is a hip flexor stretch. This area of the body can be notoriously tight, especially if we're spending a lot of time sitting. Now, I'm going to do this version kneeling. So I have something to pop under my knee here, and the other leg will come forwards. This might not necessarily be for you, or you might need to have something to hold on to next to you, so maybe a chair or a bench to help with your balance. When we do a hip flexor stretch, we want to be stacked, knee underneath the hips, underneath the body. We're then going to imagine that we have a large belt on, like a big cowboy belt, and we're going to draw the belt up, which brings our pelvis into a backwards tilt. Alternatively, you could think of lifting up from your pubic bone here, and we're looking to get an opening into the front of the hip here. Once we have a feeling of opening here, we're then going to reach up with the same arm as this hip and try and touch the ceiling. Hold it here and then release off. So we tuck and we reach to the ceiling. Again, we want to feel a nice opening all the way through the body here. Hips, side ribs, reach, 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 and come back. And repeat. Coming up. And release. I'll do the other side facing you. So again, popping my knee on something comfortable, my other leg comes forwards. Pelvis is level, grab my belt, lift up, tilting the pelvis, and then once I have a little stretch here, my stretch I feel here. For some of you, it may come a little bit further down the thigh, and that's fine, but it's this area you want to feel a stretch. Then we increase the stretch by reaching up nice and high. Holding, holding, and release. Have a sense that your body is like chewing gum or blue tack or something, and that you're lengthening and oozing. We want to create a sense of elongation here. Keep breathing and growing, and then come back. Third time, reaching up, breathing and growing. And come back. Good. We're then going to come now onto our tummy. I'm going to run through setup with you. So once again, it's quite useful to have a towel. I'm going to pop that underneath my forehead. For some of you, and if you've noticed in class, you need something under your tummy or your pelvis, then you might want your pillow here, and you're going to lie on top of it. You would have a pillow here in order to open your low back. So if you feel any tension in your low back lying on your tummy, pop something underneath, maybe a cushion, pillow, or a towel. Otherwise, we're going to have a towel and just resting the forehead here. So, set up on our tummy. We want our toes in, heels to the ceiling. With the pelvis, we want a thought process of pushing the pubic bone down, and this opens the low back, relieves any tension. We want to think broad through the collarbones, and a nice long neck again here. Our breathing is going to be at the back of the rib cage here. So just see if you can direct your breath here. Also see if you can direct your breath here. So as I inhale and exhale, you may be able to see a little rise and fall of my pelvis or sacrum. We then want to work into the activation of our deep tummy in this position. This has more of a sense of drawing the low tummy up away from the floor. Use your same cue that you worked in on your assessment. So our first exercise, we're working on scapular control. We're going to inhale, exhale, connect our deep tummy. We're then going to inhale, pause,
Exhale, broaden the collarbones and allow the arms to rotate. Hold this position and then release. Pubic bone press, deep tummy connect, broaden the collarbones and the arms come around to the thighs and then we release.
So essentially, as you continue this exercise, the collarbones are just broadening to the sides. Again, don't squeeze them backwards, just lengthening. And we're holding that position.
So we connect, deep tummy, broaden. We want to feel this here.
In between our shoulder blades, not in our low back, not in our bottom. The legs are soft and relaxed. Moving on, we're going to hover the arms now.
So we broaden, and then we're going to lift the arms up off the floor, holding, and release. We're going to broaden, lift and hold, and release. Broaden the shoulders, lift and hold the arms.
And I've rotated my arms around. So my palms are now either towards my thighs or towards the floor, whichever is more comfortable.
My bottom is soft, my thighs are soft, and my low back is open. Okay.
Coming now, we're going to change our arm position out to the side here. Nice and relaxed, and we're going to focus now on hovering the upper chest.
So it'll look like this. We'll be here, and then we'll just slowly lift the upper chest off the floor, hold, and then lower. We're going to connect and hover.
So this exercise is to start to strengthen the upper back, which means you don't want to feel it in your lower back or in your glutes. This part of your body down is relaxed. So we have pubic bone press, deep tummy activated, and then elongate and lift. Hold here and then lower. Pubic bone press, elongate and lift. You continue on. This is extension in the upper part of the back. So maybe have a thought that we're lifting away from a small flame underneath the top of the breastbone. The spine wants to just extend here. We don't want to feel a big back bend. We don't want to feel anything going down into the lower spine. You also want to check in that your head and neck is still in alignment with your spine and that you're not looking forwards as you do this exercise.
So if you note here, I'm lengthening from the back here of our head. And down. Last time through. And down.
And I've kept nice broad shoulder blades throughout. I'm going to come now to the glutes or the back of the body. So you can keep your head on here if you want to,
or you can rest your head on your hands.
We're going to be looking at timing and activation of glute max and the lower limb. So we start off with the same setup, little pubic bone press, deep tummy activated. Then we're going to squeeze just one of our glutes. So left butt cheek connects and releases. Then right butt cheek connects and releases. Now remember guys, I'm looking at you because I'm speaking that way, but for you,
you want to be here. Head down. Squeeze one glute, release. Squeeze the other glute, release. Squeezing, release.
And we want to feel this ability for the brain to talk to the hips. So can you get alternate glute max activation? Is one of your glutes a little bit slow? If it is, you can tap it at the same time as you activate your muscle.
So it would look like this. And then release. Squeeze and tap. And release.
Yeah, so that will help to facilitate the muscle if it's a little bit sleepy. Now, we can continue on with an actual lift of the leg now.
So we're in this position. We squeeze the bottom and then imagine hovering the leg off the floor and then lowering.
Now note, my leg lift is small and low. I'm not up here somewhere.
Other side, squeezing and then lifting a little bit. Check in that your pelvis remains level and that it hasn't dropped, rotated. Come back down. We keep a pubic bone press, open in the low back, squeeze, lift, and down. Relax. Deep tummy active, squeeze, lift, and down.
Imagine your leg lengthening away from your hip socket, small hover, as opposed to lifting up very high. No tension in the low back, strong connection with pubic bone on the floor. Pelvis nice and level, and no tension tracking up into the upper body.
So we still have a long neck, relax shoulders, squeeze, elongate, and down, squeeze, elongate, and down.
Again, if you have a slightly weaker side, then you can work on that side with more repetitions. Once you've finished, you're going to just come back into an extended child pose stretch or clam stretch, reaching the arms forwards and sitting the hips back. If you find it difficult to lower your hips to your heels, you can remain more upright with your bottom higher, or maybe you roll your towel and pop it between your knees and sit back on that. Breathing into the low back, breathing into the base of the ribs. Okay, we're going to move now into side lying. So working the side of the body. So this time we want to have our towel as a little pillow. And setting ourselves up, we have hand resting. Hips are stacked on top of one another. Our knees will be bent and our heels together in line with your hips. Try and create a little window here underneath your lower waist. If we just relax down into the floor, as you can see, we have a side bend in the spine. So we want the spine to be neutral and centered. So push the hip away from us, create a little window. We're then going to look at some rotation through the thorax. Connecting your deep tummy again, arm forwards. Inhale, float the arm to the ceiling. Exhale, rotate and open backwards. Coming up and lower. I'm going to show you a second variation here. This time, draw the hand to the chest. Rotate back. Come to center and return. Now this is about moving the thorax. So the hand comes to here and all the rotation happens in the rib cage. The pelvis still pushes forwards towards you at the front. And I twist in the body, just following with my head and come back again. The arm variation again, we're here and then we open back. Watch point. The shoulder wants to stay in line with the collarbones. So we don't want that picture. That's a no-no. We keep here, no tension. Just the thorax opening. Coming back again. And lower. Last time. Coming up. Exhale, separating the body. Inhale to center. Exhale, lower. Good. So we're going to come into our clams level 1. In this same position, picture that you're stacked up against a wall.
And then we're going to slowly move forwards from that wall. So we're rolling forwards towards the camera here. Keep the lift in the underneath waist. And we're going to feel with our hand here at the back of the hip. So we're going to press our top heel down onto our bottom heel. And then picture this hip ball rolling back in the socket and then coming back down again. So the ball of the hip rolls back in the socket, and as a result we see the knee will lift. It's important here that you keep your awareness at the back of the hip and that you don't focus on just lifting the knee up. It's not what this exercise is about. We want to keep the pelvis nice and level as we do this. So again, you want to watch that you are not rolling backwards as you lift your leg. So just check in that your pelvis is still. You can hold it here if you want to. Check that you still have a nice big gap underneath your low back. And when you start to feel this in your body, you should be feeling it here, nowhere else. If you do feel it at the front of your hips, see if you can mentally soften that area. If it still catches, maybe open your legs a little bit like that. And then again, come back, hip rolling back in the socket. Now we want to be aiming maybe for about 15-20 of these. Your butt cheek, so glute max, is going to remain soft here. So again, you can give that a squeeze with your hand and make sure it's not doing anything it shouldn't. Just have a little check-in as well that you are looking forwards and then we're not curling into a fetal position as we do this exercise. Okay, small rest. Okay, we're now going to move into a longer leg lift. This is working the same muscle group. So we just extend the top leg away from us, flex the foot, and then we're going to just come into a lift and lower. Well, I'm working today with my leg internally rotated a bit, so the emphasis is lifting from my heel. The leg wants to lift just above pelvic level and then a little bit below. Again, maintaining this little window in the underneath waist, deep tummy activated and stacked through the hips. Now, if you can feel without looking, you want to have your leg in line with your body. So just watch out that you're not working in a curved position with your leg in front of you, that you're very long. Your thought process is trying to touch the far wall away from you. Lift and lower. We can aim for about 15 to 20 of these repetitions. Keep it nice and small and isolated. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. Nice gap. Face, head, neck relaxed. Nice long neck. You can really feel the burn here now. It's good. And then come to rest. Well done, bum. We're going to turn around and do the whole thing on the other side. So running through setup again. Hips are stacked, heels in line with your bottom, knees bent. Pelvis neutral, so a little wriggle back and forth. Ribs in line with the body and a lift underneath. Shoulders relaxed and head looking forwards. So we started with our thoracic openers. Drawing the hand back, collect the rib cage and slowly open and rotate. And then coming back again. Inhale, prepare. Draw the arm back. Exhale, rotate. And then come back. Remember, as we do this, the pelvis wants to remain still and the separation is rib cage to pelvis. Quick review if you're using the arm. Inhale up. Exhale, rib cage back, arm backwards. Coming up and return. Floating the arm up. Move from the rib cage. Remember, we don't want this picture with a stretched front shoulder. Reaching backwards, coming up. We'll just do 2 more like this. I'm going to go back to the bow and arrow movement. Gently rotating back, Maybe thinking of a counter push in this direction and return. Last time, inhale, exhale, open, inhale, return, exhale, back. Coming into our clams on this side. So, heels are going to press together. We roll forwards off our imaginary wall, and then think of the ball falling back in the socket. Exhale, lifting, inhale, lower. Keep that gentle push of your top heel down onto the heel below. And remember, your emphasis is ball falling back in socket. It's all around this area. It's only going to be a small movement. And we want to feel through the front of the hip here. Is it nice and soft? We don't want to have too much gripping here at the front of the hips. Little opening and lower. And our butt cheeks, are they nice and soft as well? So making sure we're not gripping with glute max. All the work is here in glute med, posterior glute med. And these muscles are really useful for our single leg support, single leg standing, and when we look at walking as well with weight transfer. Just do a couple more reps here, and then once again staying with the same muscle group. Well done. Elongate the leg away from you, flex the foot, open in the upper waist, and we have a little lift and a little lower. Hand can rest forwards again. Once again, maybe just check, is my leg in alignment with my body? Little lift, little lower. Exhale up, inhale down. I don't know if you can see, but we've still got this nice gap in my underneath waist. Squeezing up and coming down. Lifting up and down. Wow, really starting to feel the burn in this area now. Keep your foot flexed and just check in you're not getting any referred symptoms down the rest of your leg. You can rest at any time. Good. Well done, guys. That's your sideline series done. We're going to change position again now, and we're going to come back onto our back. So supine lying. I'm just going to pop the cushion out the way because I don't need it when I'm on my back. But remember, some of you might still want some head support. So, set up on our back, knees parallel, feet flat. Pelvis, middle. So we have a little roll and tuck and tilt forwards and back. Finish in our middle position. Nice natural low back curve resting on our little grape. Relaxed heavy ribs. Broad collarbones, relaxed shoulders, a slight tuck of the chin, and then just check again, where's my breathing? Should be upper tummy, low ribs, not in the upper chest. So a couple of breaths here. Good, and then gather your inner unit as we come into knee folds 1. Exhaling. Knee falls out to the side, inhale, return. We're going to go straight away, right and left. Exhale out, inhale back to center. Exhale, open. Remember, we talked about this being an inner unit only exercise, which means it's your deep tummy pelvic floor that's controlling this. No gripping through the outer abdominals. We can still breathe really easily. Exhale, open. Inhale, returning back. Hands just resting lightly on the pelvis here. And this is controlling our rotation. Can we dissociate pelvis and leg movement? Just one more per side. And we're going to come back and look at our abdo prep again. Just got to do a little bit of deep neck flexor work first. So just place your hand on your chest and your finger will be on your chin. And we're going to just drop the chin down away from your finger and then release. In this motion, you're going to get length at the back of the neck and a sense of closing on the throat here. Just check in that the muscles at the front of the neck aren't gripping. So we're going to be dropping here and releasing. This is one exercise to activate our deep neck flexors. And we're going to use it as part of our abdo prep now. So I'm going to support my head with my right hand here. Elbow is wide. My other hand I'm going to have here. So I'm going to drop my chin and move my head with my other hand. I'm then going to hover the head and keep the chin here. And then finish my abdo prep from my rib cage to my pelvis and lower down. Chin drop, keep it there, and then abdo prep. So this is going to help us avoid this position, which is our chin poke, and for me it immediately hurts at the back of my neck. So I support my head, help my chin stay there, and then move my ribs to my pelvis. So as a reminder, we have no backwards tilt as we come up. We want to see no doming of our belly as we come up. That's a no-no. And no poking of the chin as we come up. We want to have a head tilt, glide the rib cage to the pelvis, and slowly lower. Exhaling. Inhale, return. Exhale, drop, come up. Inhale, return. Exhale, drop, come up. Inhale, return. So we should feel this here in the upper part of the tummy, not in your low back, not in your head and neck. One more repetition. Good. Lovely. Now, challenging our lower tummy, we have a modified single leg stretch. So we're going to exhale, connect our tummy and float our knee up. We're in half tabletop again, hip over knee. Then we're going to exhale, lengthen the leg away. Inhale, come back. Exhale, lengthen away. Inhale, come back. As we come through this exercise, the thighs are parallel. The gap between the low ribs and the pelvis remains the same. Nice and even. The little gap under my low back where I'm resting on a grape remains the same. So I'm not squashing my grape as the leg extends. Collarbones broad, chin slightly tucked and very relaxed. And then lower the leg. Then we deepen our connection, fold the second leg up, and away we go. Exhale, lengthen, inhale, return. Maybe imagine touching a button on the far wall here as we come in and out. Just check in. The non-working leg should still be parallel. Maybe press down a little bit through your heel. Exhale away. Inhale, return. Head and neck relaxed. Shoulders broad. Rib cage heavy. Pelvis centered. No tilting side to side. No tilting forwards and back. Exhale, touch the wall. Inhale, return. Exhale, touch the wall. Inhale, return. Last one. Good. And now coming into a hip twist or spinal twist. So we're going to scooch our feet up towards us and open the arms to the side. This is looking at spinal controlled rotation. So as we exhale, we're going to slowly roll to one side. Inhale, come back again. And reverse. Now, the important thing here to think about as we do this is that you are moving from your pelvis. So you're going to lift your pelvis up, then your low back, then your thorax as you roll over and come back. Repeating left and right. I'm just going to change my position to give you a better idea. So as you can see here, as I roll over, my knees stay the same height. And then I come back again. You want to avoid this view where one knee looks shorter than the other. So lifting up out of the hip Coming over, hold and return. You'll find that your top leg lifts up off the floor a little bit. And we have this strong opening from knee through to opposite shoulder. And back. Coming over, elongate, and come back again. Connect with your deep tummy as you come over and pause, and then return. Rolling over, pause, lengthen, elongate, and return back again. Good. Just bring one knee in and then the other, and just have a gentle stretch through the low back. So let's just have another check-in again with our standing alignment and standing breathing. Running through our posture check. Feet parallel. Tripod foot position, so remember that's even weight bearing, big toe, little toe and heel. Knees are going to be soft. Hips back over the outside of your ankles. Pelvis is in middle. Lengthen through the rib cage and bring the breastbone to sit over the pubic bone. Broaden your collarbones and have a sense of length at the back of the neck. I'm going to run that again for you from side on. So remember, a lot of our postural deviations will look a bit more like that. It's quite a common position to be in. So, let's come back, feet together and level. Bring the hips back over the ankles. Find a middle pelvis position. Pubic bone, navel, breastbone is stacked. And we lengthen from the base of the skull and have a sense of broadening through the collarbones. Remember the collarbones, we almost want to feel like we're wearing a little cape. It's just been popped on the body here. Then we're going to look at breathing side to side, so just some gentle breaths, feeling a nice equal expansion left-right. Last one. Then take your breath forward and back through the belly. And we want to try and get some movement through the back hand here. The better we can breathe, the more mobile our rib cage is going to be. So try and do your postural cues and breathing and drip feed it in throughout the day. I hope you've enjoyed this class.